I can't see out of these things anyway. Hi, welcome to Test Roll. I'm Martin.
And Lars?
And we've got another thrilling chapter to add to our collection of cameras. Today we're going to do the Minolta 16 Roman numeral 2 I.
It's something.
Aye, Captain. This one has a specific connection to Lars' family history. Lars, would you like to tell us what that might be?
Okay, well, I think I was 6 months old. My family just picked up and moved to the Philippines. And my father was doing work for the Navy, and he bought this camera, possibly on the base. And so this very well may be the camera that took some of the very first images of me. I've got photographs of, just us kids just goofing around, and they're just terrible photographs. But it's just amazingly cool to me that here's this camera that has just been around, and it's probably older than I am, which is saying something. But it works.
This model came out about 1962,
Okay.
60.
Yeah.
I wish I had my notes. I just
right.
was
Yeah, you wrote some
looking stuff up on Wikipedia, and this is the second version. There was actually one that I read about that made me laugh that actually had a transistor radio on this end. Because, like, why not? A transistor radio would just make it that much better. But
that would be like your camera being able to make phone calls.
no, that's ridiculous. It'll never fly. Now it looks like they just used motion picture film. I think, Lars, you have an example of some of the film for this.
Yes, I mean, in order prepping for this, I went over to Freestyle in Hollywood and bought a roll of 16 millimeter double perf Fomapan.
The 100-foot roll, he's not going to use that up for like decades.
Yeah, it's kind of a tiny format, and I mean, what's the grain going to be like? I mean, that's going to be kind of interesting.
That's one of the questions we're going to answer. So we're gonna do that. We've been talking about maybe going out and getting a roll of color as well, but one thing at a time. Do you have like one of the original rolls?
Oh yeah.
So these were something that you just discovered?
My father had a cigar box full of these, Minolta branded film. I guess this is Kodak. Here's a used one. This expires in September of 1970. So this might have been bought in the Philippines. It says respooled by Minolta camera. One of the cool things about this is these cassettes are reloadable. They just come apart, and that's why I can get a roll of 16 millimeter motion picture film and just spool it in.
Not as convenient as just buying one, but...
Yeah, but you're going to have a hard time buying one of these new. I mean, you're probably not going to find much Kodak Vision 3.
Not already loaded.
Yeah,
no. Now, the thing is, it doesn't use perforation for anything on this, so you don't need perforated film of any kind. As long as it's 16 millimeter wide, it'll work fine.
This camera has like a 22 millimeter Rocore lens, f2.8. And the cool thing about this, you wouldn't think with a tiny camera like this that you would be able to set f-stops and shutter speeds, but you got these little dials down here, and you can go from f2.8 to f16, from bulb 1/30th of a second up to 1/500th of a second.
So, okay, well, then I'm down for it. Let's take our pseudo spy camera out. We'll go and shoot a few things, and we'll come back here and we'll see what we get. Helps if I'm taking it.
Looking at it through the right.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably better. All right, welcome back. We're back at the old homestead, and we've walked about a couple of times. We've taken pictures on different kinds of film. And Lars, let's get out the old iPad and have a look at what we got.
Let's take a look at some pictures.
Let's go to that one.
Oh, yes. Ah, that's
All
a
right.
lovely picture.
So, folks, I like this camera. However, it will bust your chops. It busted mine at every turn. 35 millimeter, relatively speaking, is large format compared to this stuff. This is subminiature. This is 16 millimeter. And anything, any dirt, any scratching, any just stupid doofus handling is going to show up on your negative. This first shot will illustrate what I'm talking about. I sprayed it off with canned air and I scanned it, and it looked like a snow flurry. After doing that, I used alcohol to wipe it down, and then I used air, and then I scanned it again, and we had just a light sprinkling of snow. And then we did some Photoshop spotting, and we got it down to a dull roar, but it will bust your chops. The first negative, I've got to tell you, this stuff's hard to handle. I used canned air. I blew it right out of my hands, right onto the dirty floor, and I kept dropping it. So that's not a beautiful lab situation. So that said, I still liked what we got. We've got the Pomona station up. That's got some sharpness in there that I was not expecting.
Yeah, and from the technical side, this is Fomapan 100 developed in Rodinol 1 to 50. Rodinol is, grain like boulders. That said, it holds up pretty well. If you just showed this to me, I might say, yeah, that looks pretty grainy for 35 millimeter, but I might actually believe it's a grainy 35 millimeter shot.
Now, you'll notice there's this sort of shadow on the top of the photograph. That's my finger. I was partially covering the...
I guess it'd be something like that.
I was holding, yeah, I was...
Or maybe
no, it was like that, maybe. But I was partially shading the taking lens. Figured that out fairly early on. Well, let's move on to this next one. And there we go. There's a nice shot of the Santa Fe logo on the side of the building. And again, you see lots of detail there that I just wasn't expecting.
Yeah, it's very sharp and clear. Now, these were shot stopped down like around f11 or f16, and this camera does seem to function better at smaller f-stops.
And there's that, what is it?
Set of condos with...
Yeah, they're new. And
but it's like all these vertical stripes or lines in the side of the building. They resolve pretty well.
Let's move on. And I love this shot. This one Lars got of the Claremont train station with the Claremont clock. And it's a really cool cast concrete design in the station there, the old station.
It's a bit like the Glendale one. It looks like the same kind of design.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same era.
Yeah, I would have liked to get a little bit wider a shot, but I would have been standing on the tracks.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. Don't stand on the tracks getting a shot.
Yeah, and there were active trains in the area, so yeah, not a good idea.
They sneak up on you, believe it or not. Oh, this is yours.
Yeah, so this is just a passageway between shops in the Claremont Village, and I just love the light, the quality of light coming through these skylights.
That's kind of this weird futuristic or maybe old futuristic.
Well, it's retro-futuristic at this point.
And
yeah, I just like these. I guess they're palm frond, or the base of a palm frond or something, and they have these faces painted in them, and it's
kind of
It's
neat.
folk art.
And kind of scary.
Yeah.
All right. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
dear.
So we had black and white film. And then we thought, well, what else is available really? And color 16 millimeter motion picture stock is available in 100-foot loads. That's a whole lot of film to buy for, you know, just a few frames. You know, it was the better part of $100 for that. And so we thought, well, okay, what are the cheap alternatives? And so the first cheap alternative for color was to go for tricolors, 3 separate images. So this is my first attempt at combining Lars's tricolor, and I kind of like it. His head's like in the same spot, but everything else is just wildly different. At first I thought it was because he was moving, and then I realized we had 2 different versions of it, and I actually used one of the colors from a different exposure entirely. What's amazing to me is his face was still in the exact same spot. It took more than a minute to do each shot with 3 separate exposures.
I have not changed my expression in like 50 years. So.
I like the fact that your head lines up even if everything else kind of just goes everywhere. There's like the more successful one, because you had slipped during that
Yeah,
one
I think
shot.
this was like the second version.
Yeah, and this was better. There's some weird effects at the bottom by your foot where the sun was glinting
Right.
off of the handheld filter. But actually that came out pretty good. Let's move on to that one. And there's the Martin version where I look like you know, one of the great pioneers of the area. And not much to
Yeah, it's
go into. I got to wear your hat, which I think is a great hat.
it's a
by the
good
way.
hat. Yeah.
Moving on, and then there was the transportation version, and that was a little trickier because I was like trying not to like fall over on the bike in the process.
You know, I
Sort
think
of.
it's a relatively successful color shot on black and white film.
But remember, each of these is 3 separate shots on a tripod, and you got to hold real still. And this one, the title for this should be Lying in Wait. This is Lars taking a picture of his mailbox that's waiting to
Yeah.
spring out and grab and eat the letter carrier.
The letter carriers have a love-hate, mostly just a hate-hate relationship with my letterbox.
And oh, okay, so I got cheap. I was like, I don't want to buy like a whole roll of color motion picture film. What are other ways to get color film in 16 millimeter? Well, there are various hacks out there for slitting down larger film into whatever size you want using like little blocks and razor blades and stuff. And I thought, I'm going to try one of those. So I bought some 120 color film, and I got one of these slitters, and I put the razor blades in the right order, and then slid it in the dark in a changing bag. And it was taking a while because I got razor blades in there and I can't see anything, and I'm trying to pull this stuff through the slitter. However, they changed the formulation on Ep13, which is a good film. I really like Ep13, and it's now on polyester film, which is a lot harder to slit. It got kind of ugly in there, and it didn't want to slit easy. So this is not something I'd recommend that you do in a changing bag. It might be a good hack, but really hack's the proper word for it because it wasn't like nice and square and even, and this first roll was a little bit too fat to fit in my scanner even. This particular shot, we weren't sure if it was Frank Lloyd Wright. We thought it was fake Lloyd Wright, but it was actually Lloyd Wright. So it's an interesting building.
This is on Chevy Chase Boulevard in Glendale.
It's neat, but you can see some of the battle scars, you know, on this particular shot, and I actually dotted out the worst ones, including the spots of blood. Oh, this I liked a lot. I think you took that.
Yeah, I just like the earth tone colors of these seed heads or flowers.
Yeah. And there's me taking a picture, and this is, I was probably a little too close to the camera.
I had put the 4-foot distance focus attachment, which this should be sharp, but it's not.
I might have moved. All right, moving on. And
Okay, now we're in Highland Park.
yeah, so this was the strip that was actually really 16 millimeters wide, and this worked a lot better. And to me, it looks a lot sharper. So we got some colorful doors there, and that looked all right. And that's a, what do we call it?
Transom?
Transom, that's right. I've gone into a transom. It was, I kind of like the coloration of the leaded glass. There's a wider shot of that building right
On the
there.
whole, I really like the sort of muted reds and colors, and this shot with the Kodak Ektar film, I think renders really nicely.
And oh, I like this alleyway.
Yeah.
That's kind of a neat thing there.
And here again, I have a tendency to get shots like just as I walk out my front door,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, hey, there's some colors.
I like how that came out. I think that was neat.
What impressed me when I saw this is that the colors are pretty vibrant.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, this was on a different day. I think this was a couple
Yeah.
days later. The air was clearer.
Yeah.
So
Is that it? Is that's it? Wow.
That is it.
Wow. So anyway, what are your thoughts?
I like the camera a lot. It's a consumer camera. It's something that not the kind of thing I would personally use for the photography I tend to do. To me, 4x5 is a small format, and this is just very small. If you want to shoot like snapshots of your friends, if you're sort of like, you want a camera that you can run around with and it's really low profile and easy to throw in your pocket, this is a great camera, and it shoots amazing shots for something that's only shooting on this little tiny 16 millimeter film. I mean, I'm amazed, frankly.
Yeah, I was similarly amazed at the quality that could be got from it. And again, if you wanted to do a lot of street photography and you wanted a cheap way to get a bunch of color film, it's just that the initial investment in 100 foot of motion picture film is up there, but at the same time, you'll be shooting for years with that 100 foot load.
Yeah, because a 20 frame load is 18 inches. It's kind of got a fun intimacy to it.
So we give it a kind of a thumbs up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does, technically it does a good job. It's definitely something a certain kind of photographer would love to use. Not me, but...
Well, that's a wholehearted review there. Folks, thanks for stopping in with us, and we'll see you next time when we haul out another camera. I'm Martin.
And Lars?
And this has been Testrel.